Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard.
Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today we have a guest, Shanna Steele, and she's going to talk to us about the exciting things she's been doing and the exciting things she supports. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you. Let us get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. A what sketch?
A biographical sketch.
Oh, okay. So, my name is Shanna. I am running for Lieutenant Governor. I am a student at Houston Community College. I'm taking real estate. I'm almost getting my associate's degree. I've worked for judge. I've worked for the post office for political background, and I'm a mother, and I'm also about to go to school for international business of law.
Oh wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So how did you get involved in your political party?
So how I got involved with the Libertarian Party was when I saw Bill Jorgensen and Spike Cohen when they were running for the presidential run. I like a lot of their ideas and views compared to the Republican and Democrat. It's kind of like in the middle of both. So you get like the best of both.
Oh, sure. So given you...
I didn't hear that. You cut out.
And both of those really... I heard you say that you work for a judge in a post office. So kind of explain how that informed your political views. What did you learn about the government working for those positions?
Well, working for the post office, it is a federal position. So you can say that I'm a former federal employee. I didn't really learn too much about politics then. It was just, I knew that, the postmaster is regulated. There was a lot of regulations with federal government that didn't allow us to increase the prices of like stamps and stuff, and which kind of made it hard for the post office to make money. But and with the judge,
oh sure,
and then with the judge, it was kind of there was a lot of politics in the office with the other employees, and he was a Republican, so I kind of got a taste of how he ran his campaign and the things that he did.
Interesting. So when you're running for lieutenant governor, what issues are you bringing to the table? What is on your platform?
Well, I'm focused on parents' choice, women's choice, and as well as tax choice. With the way it works with the parents' choice, there's a lot of people right now that are not happy. A lot of parents right now that are not happy with the schools that their children are going to, and I think it's important for the parent to be able to choose where their child goes to school.
Sure.
And then with the women's choice, I know that Abbott and Jen Patrick, just allowed the bill to pass for the abortion. And for me, I think it's important, and, for women to be able to have that choice, and not have to go out of state, especially like an emergency or, if it's just there's health concerns or things like that. But not only that, there's, by passing that law, it opened doors for California to try and come after gun rights. So, it's pretty important for women to be able to choose.
Interesting.
And then with tax choice, I just learned that from his name is Nolan Smith. He's running for judge in Guadalupe County, and one of his posts mentioned tax choice. I thought that was really interesting how, we're able to choose where our dollars are actually going. And taxes were never supposed to be just sent to the government and the government decide where they go. It's always been where they had to be represented, where your dollars are going. But with tax choice, you're able to see where exactly your dollars are going. I do also think that property tax should be eliminated. And one of the ways that we can do that would be to legalize marijuana. If you legalize marijuana, that would create more revenue to make up the loss of the property tax. There is a law that they're trying to pass. I think it's like 1890. And with that, they would substitute the sales tax for property taxes. I agree with a lot of the stuff that's in there. However, I do not agree with any tax over 3%. And they're suggesting it's 7%.
I'm sorry, what's the amount? Any tax over what?
3%?
Oh, 3%, okay.
Yes.
Is there a reason you've come to that figure, or do you just need to cut it off at some point?
I think that in order to get people to accept the change, because I know that a lot of people have issues with saying that, without fire departments and police and schools, like where does that money come from? And I think, with it being 3%, it's a middle ground, so that it's kind of trying to get off of the tax system, but not like all at once. And I came up with 3% because of the Boston Tea Party. They fought a war over the 3% tax of tea. So I think it's very important that we learn from, the past, and that's how I came up with the 3%.
Okay. So what is your campaign strategy? How are you trying to reach the voters?
Right now, it's a lot of the stuff is online, because I still am trying to fundraise for promotional items and gas money, because to try to drive all over Texas is huge, and to try to drive over that, it does take time and money to drive all those places. I do have an event scheduled March 1st in Dallas. So that'll be interesting.
Okay, what's the event on March 1st?
It's with Kevin Hale and Mark Tippett. Kevin Hale is going for Congress, and Mark Tippett is he's a Libertarian candidate for governor. Let me pull up that address real quick. It's at a bar, a Poor David's, I think it's called, in Dallas.
Okay. All right. So, how's the reception been to your views in Texas?
How is what then? I'm sorry.
The reception to your views in Texas. How's Texas? Does Texas embrace libertarianism compared to other states, or how does it work in Texas?
I think my views on politics is pretty receptive. However, a lot of people are going with the major parties, the duopoly, the Democrats and the Republicans, just because they're considered the majority. A lot of people don't actually look at the candidate, and which makes it harder for third parties or alternative parties to actually get elected.
Sure. So how is ballot access like in Texas? I'm in Texas, but our audience may not be in Texas, so kindly explain what ballot access is like for people in Texas getting on the ballot.
Getting on the ballot?
Yes.
So yeah, that was for me. It was pretty easy. However, I know that if there wasn't a lawsuit and it would be pretty difficult for alternative parties to get on the ballot. You have to pay the filing fee. But like I said, we had the lawsuit, so I didn't have to pay that fee, and I had to take chances whether or not I would actually be accepted. So that was pretty difficult. And then not only that, the filing fees, they go towards to pay for the primaries, which are for the Democrats and the Republicans. With the Libertarians, we have conventions. So it's different. They don't pay for that. And it's like they're getting reimbursed for their filing fees, but the Libertarians and alternate parties, they don't get reimbursed.
So tell our audience about this lawsuit. What happened in the lawsuit and how did they win it?
I don't know all the details on that. All I know is that there was a lawsuit, and because there was a lawsuit in place, I was able to file without paying the fee. And then just recently, they made an announcement that that the standing from the previous election was able to stand, so we didn't have to pay the filing fee.
That is good.
Yes, it is very good.
So
But the Republicans and the Democrats do try to change it to where it does make it harder for Libertarians and alternative parties to file.
Yes, unfortunately. So when's the general election?
The general election is November 8th.
November 8th? Oh.
Yes, the convention, I believe, for the Libertarian parties, they start March 8th.
Is that going to be virtual or is it going to be in person?
I think it's in person. I don't think it's virtual.
All right, and where is that at?
You'd have to contact the precinct chairs to find out in your precinct where to vote. It's different for all of them. You have the precinct, the county, and then the district, and all the way up to the state.
Okay. So are you doing this all by yourself, your campaign, or do you have a team helping you out?
For the most part, it's just been me and my fiance, but I do contact with Desiree. She's running for Desiree Lindsay. She's running for District 3 Senate. So I've done some stuff with her as well.
So you've done collaborations with her for that?
Yes.
All right. So what appeals are you using to the voters? Are you using personal appeals about your background? Are you focusing on libertarian views or combination of both? Or how are you doing that?
It's mainly the libertarian views. I mean, like I said, I've seen their platform. I understand a little bit about it. I'm still learning, but I like their concept. They believe in liberty, where people can do whatever they want as long as they're not harming anybody else.
All right. So who is your target audience? Who are you trying to reach in Texas for the election?
My target audience is, Democrats and Republicans there, and even the independents, because, like I said, some people that are Democrats, they're not happy with the things that are going on, and they're looking for a change. And I think it's right now is a good turning point for a lot of people. The older generation are getting older and then retiring, or just deciding whether or not to retire. And so I think that, and then also I have a son, he's 18. So, I mean, his friends, and the people that, like the younger generation that don't know anything about politics or, are barely getting interested in it.
Okay.
So it's a wide range.
So what age group do you think is going to be receptive, or it will go across the board?
I'm probably thinking that the younger generation will be, because another issue that I would, like I said before, is legalizing marijuana. I think that's really important to grow our economy.
Sure. So do you want to go all the way with it, not just decriminalize it, legalize it?
Yeah, absolutely, legalize it.
And I assume for other drugs as well?
Other plants, yes.
I'm sorry, other what?
Other plants, yes.
Plants, but what about stuff like LSD or meth? You want to legalize those?
I'm still like on the fence on that one. I did read about how Poland, I think it was, that was able to lessen or lessen the overdoses or the issues with drug use. So I mean, I think that's important that we learn from other people and what works, in those areas. And what they did was they legalized all drugs, but if they're caught or found with an overdose or that they're misusing it and it's harmful to themselves, they have a panel of doctors to assist them with their mental health and or other issues that they may have, so it doesn't happen again.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds like a good approach.
Yes.
So Austin, where I live in Texas, has a big homeless problem, as does other cities. I imagine Dallas does. So kindly tell us if you've thought about how to address homelessness, how you would do that as governor.
Yeah, I've been to Austin. I know that homelessness is a huge issue there. I mean, if I knew how to combat homelessness, I would be doing it right now. I've been homeless before, and I made a vow to myself, not to be homeless ever again, and or have a place for my children, for them not to be homeless either. So I mean, that's definitely something that I would be interested in solving, the homelessness there.
So how did you get out of homelessness? How did you rise above that?
So with me, okay, so I came from California and I didn't have a whole lot, but I stayed with, my in-laws and to try to, until we were able to get a place. But even, before I left California, there was I had just lost my apartment. I didn't have a job. I couldn't get a job because I was pregnant, and it's very difficult for employers that are looking to hire somebody that they'd hire somebody that's pregnant. So I mean, it's just really having to get out there and hustle. I know, and even having a job and not having a vehicle is difficult as well. So I mean, you have to find a way to get a vehicle and just get back and forth to your job and not give up. And there's plenty of programs out there that that can help people. But I mean, as libertarian views, you try to stay away from that, where so it's kind of that's one of the issues with libertarianism. Is you want to help people, but you don't want the government to be involved.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you would support private programs for homelessness, not government-run ones?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So for our audience out there, whether they live in Texas like we do or they live elsewhere, how can they support your campaign?
They can go to, I'm on Facebook at Shanna Steele for LT Governor. And then I have a link there with the Cash App and as well as a link for PayPal.
PayPal, so they can donate through PayPal, and what's the other site?
Cash App?
Catch Up.
Cash
I've not
App.
heard of that. Cash App, okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now. I thought I heard you say something different, so they can donate through PayPal or Cash App.
Yes.
Alright, that sounds good. So, Shanna, thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign. We wish you all the best in your campaign.
Thank you for having me.
All the best to you and your campaign and your future endeavors. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye now.